What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Trey, and as usual, I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. Today, we're going to talk about the game ones of the NBA Conference Finals. But before we do that, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, comment, tell anyone about the show. I'm trying to get the ratings up a little bit, just a little bit. And if you wonder where you heard this before, that's because you've been listening Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Greatly appreciate that. Now, let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to talk about, right? We got here the Spurs versus the Thunder. And the Knicks versus the Cavs. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, both games were phenomenal. I got to talk about it. Both games were phenomenal. Because, again, you got to say it because both of the games were phenomenal. But let's talk about the West, right? The West is the best. The East is the least. I'm a Western fan personally. So let's talk about the West first. We had the Spurs versus the Thunder. And keep in mind, this went double OT, okay? Keep in mind, this went double OT. I had to say it twice because it went to what? Double OT. That's overtime for those of y'all who don't know what that means. Spurs ended up winning 122-115. And I want to say the highlights, ladies and gentlemen. Victor Wembanyama having 41 points, 12 of 13 from the free throw line. That's not bad, not too shabby at all. 14 of 25 from the field, but also grabbed 24 rebounds with 3 assists, 3 turnovers, by the way, but 1 steal and 3 blocks. So we playing on both sides of the basketball, ladies and gentlemen, and he's obviously the Spurs' best player on the team. Now, the Thunder, SGA didn't quite have the best game that we're used to seeing. He did get 24 points, but keep in mind that's with 2 extra overtimes too, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, he didn't start kicking it off until the fourth quarter, but that's when his team needs him the most, right? In the fourth quarter to close games. He went 7 of 23 though from the field. He did go 8 of 9 from the free throw line, so kudos on that. But he also helped out because he gave 12 assists, right? 4 turnovers, but that's okay because he did give 5 steals and a block. So again, we playing on both sides of the basketball, ladies and gentlemen. On the basketball court, we playing both sides. And I do love that. This game was entertaining. And I think, like I said, this was going to be the most exciting series of all NBA playoffs. I don't care if it gets to only 4 games. This beats any series that had 7-game series in my estimation. Because especially if it goes like this was phenomenal. There were times where I thought, OKC's really about to pull it away and take away the Spurs' chance of still in the game at OKC. And the Spurs ended up closing it out. Keep in mind, De'Aaron Fox did not play. Their lead guard, their veteran guard, their all-star guard, their player who was considered or who won the most clutch award, right, at one point in time in recent history, mind you. He's out with a right ankle sprain. So we got to wait to see when he actually comes back. But this was phenomenal to see that they won. The Spurs defense was spectacular. Their team was hitting, they could have done a little bit better from 3. But they had a bunch of players who were doing their thing. Devin Vassell, Julian Champagne, they were doing their thing for certain. Keldon Johnson, 3 of 6 from 3. Can't be mad at that. Their defense, though, was their bread and butter. And that's what got them over the hump, ladies and gentlemen. Because this Thunder's team, they've been treating other teams the way the Spurs treated them. And it's got to be frustrating for certain. It's got to be frustrating. We also got to give a shout out to Jalen Williams, who's now come back. Because remember, he's been injured with his old right hamstring or left hand. One of the hamstrings was messed up. The hammy won't hammy in the way it needed to, right? So again, ladies and gentlemen, we got to give credit to Jalen Williams. Giving us 26 points. That's not bad, especially on your first game back, champ. And he was playing on both sides of the ball, too. It just looks a little awkward because, we could talk about like Alex Caruso giving us 31 points. Shout out Alex Caruso. I miss you on my Lakers. Wish you were back. I really wish we never lost you personally. But let's talk about Chet Holmgren. Now, Chet gave us a quality block at the end of the game that took it to, I think, second overtime, right? But we also had 2 defensive players who swatted at who were trying to guard Victor Wembanyama. So he really drew a triple team. It's really kind of crazy when you think about it. But Chet Holmgren did not quite step up the way he should have. He only gave us 8 points, 8 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks, no assists, 2 of 7 from the field. That's not good. That's not good. It's okay from a block perspective, but he's about 7'2". I'm expecting that personally. And, I hear you. It's NBA professionals. It's tough to block. No, he's 7'2". He should be able to do better. Also, keep in mind, you let Victor Wembanyama come in your house and punk you. That's what it looked like to me. That's personally what it looked like to me. The minutes played is ridiculous because Victor played 49 minutes. Chet, you played 41. So it's not like you weren't on the floor. It's not like you didn't have ample time to showcase something. You just weren't dominating. the way you actually might be able to, or at least putting forth a better effort. When we have Alex Caruso doing a better job against Victor Wembanyama than you are, personally, that's a problem. I'm not trying to slander you too much. It's game one, right? Maybe he has a much better game two and somebody else messes up on the Thunder. Or let's say if Victor Wembanyama don't drop again a 41-24 piece, because how often are we going to be seeing those type of games from him, especially early on? Maybe we can see that. But who knows? Let's wait to see. But this game was exciting, ladies and gentlemen. I am very curious to see how game two goes. I still have not changed my pick. I still expect the Spurs to win this in 6. And that's tough because I really wanted to go the distance. I really do. But again, the way the Spurs played, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, even Devin Vassell, hell, these boys were actually guarding Shai Gilgeous-Alexander pretty well. And keep in mind, Alex Caruso is probably not going to drop 31 points again. Like A.J. Mitchell really did look out of place. Now, he had a quality overall game, but he only got 5 shot attempts. He only had 5 shot attempts. He had 5 assists, no turnovers, kudos, and 2 steals. So he doing his thing. But against my Lakers, which is a much different team, he looked a lot better. Over the regular season, he looked a lot better. He would have won 6th Man of the Year if he had played enough games, to be clear. But against this Spurs team, he did look pretty lackluster in comparison. Not saying he's trashed. I'm saying he looked lackluster in comparison. So this Spurs team, from the players to the coaching, the execution, everything, they were phenomenal. The Thunder, they did their thing too. Now I'm not gonna act like they played poorly. They just didn't play the way that we are used to seeing, which is again a tip of the cap to the Spurs. So I'm leaning Spurs still right now after game one, ladies and gentlemen, but I definitely want to hear from you all. Who do you lean towards, whether it's Spurs or whether it's Thunder? I'm not going to try to make too much about game one because it's game one. But again, I need to see Chet step up. SGA, you may have to have a little bit better efficiency. And then someone off the bench got to produce. Alex Caruso, was that someone in game one? Are we going to really expect another 30 ball from Alex Caruso? Hell, can we expect a 20 ball from Alex Caruso? Maybe, because Alex does be hustling. He be moving those puppies. But I don't want to bank on that. So again, ladies and gentlemen, double OT. And they just let Caruso shoot too, by the way, to be clear. He knocked him down. He made him pay. But again, ladies and gentlemen, how often is he going to get that again? So I'm looking at Chet, who is an all-star. J-Dub, you played well. Shai, you played all right. Like, you did. It's not just about scoring. I know it's called get a bucket, right? But it's not just about scoring. He did other things as well, too. And he did score when it mattered. But I need to see a better team effort from the Thunder, even though it was only a 7-point game and the game was a lot closer than that. But the Thunder need to win game 2 because going into San Antonio down 0-2, that could, you know what I'm saying? That could get a little tricky for the defending champs. So let's wait to see what happens game 2. Now, let's switch it on to the New York Knicks, right? Because this one was entertaining as well, but for different reasons. Now, I told you all I thought the Knicks were going to win the series, and they did win game 1. But the interesting thing is they had to fight and claw their way back past the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were up about 22 points in the fourth quarter with like 7.5 minutes remaining. And when you think about it, again, you just heard me. Like, the Knicks single-handedly just made Anthony Edwards look a little tough. And I'm not saying tough in a good way. I'm saying tough in a bad way. Because remember, Ant shook the Spurs' hands and said kudos for beating our tail with about 8 minutes left remaining in the fourth after they're up about 20, 30 points. Well, the Knicks clawed their way back after 22-point deficit and then took it to overtime. But here's the thing. They went on a 44-11 run between that 7.5-minute mark in the fourth to overtime. That's disgusting. I really, truly do hope that the Cavs get swept. We could talk about the Knicks having having home court advantage, but the fact that you outscore a team by 33 points between the 7.5-minute mark in the fourth until the little bit of time that you have in OT, that's ridiculous. Kudos to Jalen Brunson for doing his thing. 38 points on 15-29 from the field, 7-10 from free throws. So he left some on the floor, but he also gave 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, but also 3 steals. And it's crazy because, hell, as I'm thinking about it, the Knicks only had like 2 blocks for the entire time. So it's not like rim protection won't stellar. Like, matter of fact, the Cavs had better rim protection. The Cavs had similar steal rate. I mean, they lost this one. This was bad. This was bad, bro. They had the assists in their favor. They had the turnovers against them for sure. They had the field goal percentage weren't the best. The 3-point percentage they had favoring them. The free throws were about the same. So this just goes to show you the Cavs are lackluster. I'm not the biggest fan of James Harden personally. He goes 5 of 16 from the field, 3 assists, 6 turnovers. That's bad. Now, he did give us a steal on the block, but, they don't really count those too much. Donovan Mitchell, I'm looking at you, champ. 29 points, 12 of 23 from the field, respectable. 4 of 11 from the three. We'll hear that. Well, only 1 free throw, though. That's a little bit tough. That's a little tough for sure. But here's the thing. He gave me 4 turnovers, but got me 6 steals and a block. I can work with that, Donovan, on the defensive end. I genuinely can. But the latter part of the game, I think in the fourth quarter, you might have had 26 points, maybe. I could be wrong. But it did not seem like your team was interested in getting you the ball. I'm a little bit being facetious because I'm sure they were interested in doing so. But how can you get Donovan Mitchell open more? Again, the Knicks are pretty solid defensively. They're okay. They can defend a little bit. Shout out to Landry Shamet, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby looked smooth. Josh Hart was playing decently. Hell, even Cat was doing his thing. But again, the fact that Donovan Mitchell couldn't even touch the ball for quite some time, I'm looking at Donovan. I'm looking at his team. I'm looking at the coach. Because again, how dare you not get your best player the basketball when it really matters? How dare you? Dean Wade almost won it for y'all in the fourth quarter. Rims in and out in terms of 3-point shot that he almost hit. But again, almost only counts in horseshoes and grenades. So we had to go to the overtime. And I thought Donovan could have been a little bit more aggressive. I thought the coach could have forced Donovan to be a little bit more aggressive. Did they need game one? Nah, not quite, but it's nice to steal a game at home for sure. Put a little pressure on the home team, on the team with the higher seed, and you would have put a little pressure on the Knicks. Look, beating them by 22, that sends a message for sure. But letting them claw back, that's a little terrible, personally. So if we're going to see that from them, and I honestly think the Cavs really gave it their best. And they had that fatigue from Game 7, going to Game 7 versus the Pistons. So again, that fatigue is already looking like it's starting to set in. Does it get any better? I don't know, because guess what? We just had an overtime game this round. So having it's not like with the Spurs and Thunder, because that one wasn't a game. They didn't go Game 7. Now, did they play a lot of minutes in Game 1? Yes, they did. But their legs are a little bit fresher. The Cavs don't really have that fresh of a leg, to be clear. They really don't. And James Harden, they put him in a blender, bro. Jalen Brunson was beating his tail. It was BTA work, personally, ladies and gentlemen, because he can't really defend. And it's crazy because everybody knows that. You already saw it, and he don't give effort on the defensive end, for real. He really don't. Not all the time. Not a lot of the time, actually. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, this series, this round, this matchup between the Cavs and Knicks, I'm hoping, and it's sad because I'm rooting for the Knicks. That if you know me, that's disgusting work. But I'm pulling for these Knicks, man. My series expectations and predictions have not changed. I still expect this one to end in about 6. But here's the crazy thing. Because they did what they just did, I can actually see a sweep. I can see it. Does it happen? We got to see. But I'm at least expecting 5 to 6 games for this series. At first, it was maybe 6 or 7. I'm not expecting to see 7 in this series, personally. It's more like 5 to 6. But you know what? We're going to wait and see what happens. But they need some more help, man. Donovan Mitchell, I've said it before. I've said it again. He's 30 years old, first time reaching his conference finals. That's not good. That's not good. And I'm telling you, he cannot be the best player on this team if they want to win a championship. Evan Mobley, you got to step up and be the one option. But I don't think he's good enough yet. He's still about 24, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe a little bit older. But anyways, we got to see a little bit more out of Evan. I was right, 24 years old. But we got to see a little bit more out of Evan Mobley. Because if he can be their one option, maybe the Cavs have something. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, even though, despite my displeasure in the Cavs' performance, it was still a good game. Both games were great, and I can't wait to see the rest of the series. So playoff season is back, it's active, and we energetic, and we daggone show entertained. And I don't think no script writing is affecting these matchups too, ladies and gentlemen. I think this was just these were good, authentic games, personally, for what I saw. But I'm curious, ladies and gentlemen, who do you have winning the conference matchups. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that does conclude the end of the episode. So please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone who's anyone about the show. My name is Trey. I'm the host of Get a Bucket. I hope you're all having a good one. Take care.